Hello, my name is Matt, and you're watching Code Tech and Tutorials. This is my new thing. Just kidding, but I have a one-take wonder for you guys today, and hopefully it turns out okay. And if you're watching this, it probably did because I decided to post it. But who knows? Sometimes you just gotta let the internet judge you. Sometimes you just gotta go that route. Now I know I said I was supposed to do some other tutorials, but I'm still working on those, and I really don't want to release anything that's not quite ready. So more in the works. If you want to get those early, maybe consider checking out my Patreon. I'm going to release a lot of my stuff a day or two early on there, but there's no sense in doing it quite yet, although I'm prepping for it because I don't think there's anyone on there yet. It's fairly new. I haven't really talked about it yet, but it would really mean a lot if I could get any sort of support on there. I don't really know how to ask. I don't really actually feel all that comfortable asking. So let's get to the crux of this particular video and what I want to talk about. And this comes from my experience and my thoughts and a lot of my studies in computer science, starting new jobs in the computer sciencey world, and also just from my studies in psychology about things. So the thing is, it's about how we treat each other. It's a big topic in the world, so I guess that's fitting too. There's a lot of things coming down about that. And really, the whole thing I really wanted to say is just to be really nice to new developers. Because I know it's really easy when you've been doing it for a while to see a newcomer and think, oh, they're so bad. And maybe I'll just tell them how bad they are. And then their reaction, well, if they're really stubborn, they'll keep going. But if they're not, they'll just quit. So the last thing we want is more developers quitting, because there's already a lack of developers, especially a lack of good developers. And that's a trend I've been noticing as the more I get into the world. And now, by saying that, I'm not saying that I'm a good developer. Actually, I think I'm, comparatively speaking, probably not very good. But that's neither here nor there. I do seem to have the aptitude, so as long as I keep working on it, eventually I'll get good. Now, I've kind of had the luxury of most people being pretty nice to me, but I've heard a lot of horror stories about starting your first job and just the training being abysmal and no one really helping the new coders out and get to know things, and kind of just being expected to know everything when obviously you wouldn't, because that's just not how this world works. You just don't magically know everything about coding, about environments. And I've also recently observed that there's very few standards. If you go to a different place, a different company, or maybe you're just trying to do something on your own and trying to figure out what the standard is for the community, you figure out that with about everything, there is no standard. Everybody's doing something different. Some people collaborate and kind of do the same thing, but it's still the Wild West in software development, from what I can tell, because I've been trying to figure out for weeks now how everyone should be doing their C++ libraries, and the conclusion I came to is that everybody just does it however they feel like, and there's really no standard. That's what I've come to with that. So how's a newcomer approach something like that, where the standard is there is no standard? They're not going to know anything. They need to be taught, and hopefully they can be taught in a nice way that doesn't deter them, because something interesting is happening in our world right now, and it's viewable in a lot of different industries. But I can't remember who pointed this out, but this isn't my original thought. Someone pointed out that software development is being dumbed down so much. Let me make sure I word this right. And I don't think dumbed down is the right word. So software development, there are basically fewer and fewer like true programmers out there that really understand the science behind what's going on with the memory and all that, and the math and behind all that. And they would rather just use a library or something that just does it all for them. And sure, I can understand that. When you're new to it, you kind of want to take the easy approach. But what happens is they end up getting deterred, and they never dive deep enough to truly understand and like, you know, improve and reinvent things, because things always need improved and reinvented. We can't keep the same standards for like 20 years because things have just changed so much. So that's where the problem is coming in, is new coders, they maybe learn some Python, learn a little bit of this or that, and pick a language that noobs like to start with. And then after that, they're done. Maybe they make a little game, but they don't even come close to starting to understand what it takes to build a new language, or make your stuff operate properly with how memory management works and stuff like that. It's just because they don't want to go any deeper. And I think the reason is just because it's such a cruel, harsh environment to be a software developer. And by that I mean you just can't find help. You go on Stack Overflow, you ask your noob question, you get 10 downvotes and 5 people yelling at you, 3 reports, and you're just like, I just want to know how to properly include a header file, man. Well, you don't have to do this to me. You don't have to like swat me, and I'm exaggerating here, but you get the point, right? It's being a new software developer is already intimidating enough, and when you just try to ask a question to figure out something that might be simple to someone who's been doing it for a long time, you get berated and basically just beaten to the ground. It's I want to say again that I have seen this happen more than it's happened to me. I have definitely got a few. I guess there's maybe been a few times when I got the, oh, you don't know this, you should know this. I can't believe you don't know this type of thing, which wasn't that bad, but it's like, yeah, at some point, there's always a point where you don't know something and you have to learn it. And if you see someone at that stage, you shouldn't be mean to them. You should maybe help them along, or at least just hold in your negative, bitter thoughts about whatever is making you so bitter from doing software development so long. Which brings me to another point. Why do so many software developers become so bitter and crazy? I don't know if that's a thing. I just seems like there's a lot of them. Seems like it's a thing that eventually software developers are just like, I've been doing this for a long time. I don't even care anymore. And I don't really ever want to get to that, but I see that a lot too. And maybe it has something to do with how everybody's treating each other. So, it's just a bunch of cool little nerdy stuff. We could just, we could just be a little cooler about it and not be so mean to noobs. I guess that's my whole point. It's just to be nice to new software developers, answer their questions, help them out a little bit, at least point them in the right direction rather than making fun of them. Because yeah, it sucks to have to ask. It sucks to have to go ask for help when your program's not compiling, and then someone looks at it and says you missed a semicolon. That is from the developer who missed the semicolon's point of view and had to go ask for help because they couldn't find it, and then someone just finds it and it's so simple and stupid. That is already humiliating enough. So just leave it at that. I have one story that I can think of. I'll just tell you. I was at a job and I was doing something. I was working on an implementation of some new feature, and I was a little stuck. And I was like, yeah, I could sit here for like hours trying to figure it out, or I could just go ask someone that probably knows. So I went and asked someone who probably knows, and it turns out I was doing something that was obviously not wise. And as soon as someone pointed it out to me, it clicked immediately. I just didn't see it before, but they were really polite to me about it. People tend to be polite to me. Maybe it's because I look somewhat like Guilfoyle or something. I don't know, but that's cool. I do appreciate that. So the thing I was missing was I was just basically overflowing some memory. No, how do I explain this? It was really just a cout debug statement, and the way it was like translating the data was starting to take up gigs of memory, which is not supposed to happen. So yeah, it was the way I was like unwrapping this giant file and trying to see out parts of it. And once someone pointed it out to me, before they even said anything else, I knew immediately, like, oh yeah, this is definitely what's causing it. I can't believe I didn't see this earlier. And it was just a really stupid thing. So, I really appreciated that they were nice about it. And it's funny. A lot of times when you're in the midst of your project and digging in deep, eventually you just get stuck on something, and you just need to walk away and come back with a clear head, and you'll see it. You already knew it, you just wasn't clicking because there's so much going on. There's so many layers going on. You're often having to think about 7 to 14 things at once, and eventually your mind just kind of like, I can't take it anymore. You gotta go, like, take a break. So, all right, be cool, you guys. Hope everyone's doing well out there. Keep coding. I'll see you in the next video.